Morning guys, Scotty here from Airborne Solutions. One that we get asked a bit and we thought we'd do a video about was spreader calibration and all things spreader. So today we're going to seed a little bit of ryegrass, which is a really light seed. And yeah, we'll show you guys how to do it. First things first is you put your drone up on some sort of raised platform and you need a bucket to catch everything in. So we click on the drone, click on the spreader, and a real trick for young players, as I just did before, 5 minutes into the video, remembering that I'd just done it, is you don't click spreading calibration. So spreading calibration will actually recalibrate the product that you're currently on. So we want to go spread type. We want to add a new product. So we'll call it, it's a Nui ryegrass. Nui rye. So add a new product. Confirm. And now we find it in here and change to it. So if you just went straight into spreading calibration, we would have just recalibrated our last product, which is annoying because you lose the calibration of what it was. So we've got the medium augers in here today, and we'll go through what augers to use where after this. You want to fill the container to about 1/3 full, and you also want to be standing by with a little bit more. If the augers run dry, then your calibration's wasted and you'll have to do it again. You also, the first thing you do, which we've already done for the video, is you go into discharge remaining and you just run the augers for a few seconds so that the seed completely fills the augers. And if you don't do that, they'll spin for a couple of times with nothing coming out and you'll get again a poor calibration. So we've filled it to at least 1/3. Sufficient pellets loaded, we push next. An empty container has been placed under the outlet. Yes, it has. And then we push start discharging. So the augers will change their speed a bit. They'll go up and down, just so it gets a good mix. Keep an eye on it in the bin that it's not gonna run dry. You may have to stoke it up a little bit, but that's pretty bang on. We've got our seed here. Go around to our scales. And you want to use, so when you're doing a small seed, you want to use quite accurate scales. If you're doing a urea or fert, they can come out to like 12 or 14 kilos. So you can use maybe a bit more of a less accurate scale, but for seeds we use our spray scales. And because seeds are really expensive. I always make it, if you've got to do multiple batches, make life easy on yourself. Make it a nice round kilo. Saves me having to add on the camera. So now we know it's 2.238 kgs. Sorry, grams. Oh, kgs. 2.238. 2238. So the input into the app is always in grams, not kgs. It'd be really nice if they put a little G there, or to save people a few headaches. That's it. It's calibrated. So now one thing to check that I always check after you've calibrated. This is a good giveaway as to whether your augers are suitable for the job or not. So just click on create a little job close to where you're going to be working. Oh, I'm still in a previous job. My problem there. Confirm. Now we want to put this grass on at about 25 kilos to the hectare. So you can see here, actually I'll change everything else first. Get all your heights and speeds right. So I'll do it at 8 meters and a flight speed of 7 meters a second. And a Swath width, spread during lane change, route direction. Oh, see how the spacing was really low? That's why it wouldn't let me go very wide. So if I very high rate. So if I change my spacing to 6 meters, which is a typical ryegrass. Now if we go to our rate, we can see that 25 kg is a reasonable way up the slider. So one thing to be aware of, if you do your calibration, then set up your field, and it comes right down, say we wanted to put on 3.3 kilos to the hectare, be really dubious of using these augers when the calibration has ended up right at the bottom of the slider. The reason being, as soon as the drone slows down a bit, the augers are basically operating at as slow as they can possibly go at 3.3 kilos to the hectare. So as soon as the drone slows down, it'll be over applying. You really want to be in the top 2/3 of this bracket to get a nice accurate result. So if you do a calibration that comes out there, go to a smaller auger, redo the calibration, and it'll come out more like there or something, roughly. So yeah, be really aware, really wary of calibrations coming out too low. So we set 25 for this one. Yeah, I'd say that's not too far down. That's a good amount up. We can go considerably faster anyway. So put our speed right up to full speed, and you'll notice that come even further up the calibration scale. The 25 is now over halfway. That's the basics of how to calibrate it. Another thing to show you guys is how to select, so spreading type. This is where we select what we're actually going to be putting on. So Nui Rye in this one. If we're going to put on one of these other products that we've calibrated in the past, you just click on whichever one you want to do. So a few other things to talk about. I wrote a couple of notes about spreading. Swath widths, there's no hard and fast rule. So if we are over sowing a grass or a plantain or something like that, we use about 8 to 10 meters and quite high. Like for seeding, or spreading, you don't really want to be below about 7 or 8 meters. The swath gets too narrow because these are the spreaders throw that straight down. So if we're 3 meters wide, we're only going to get like a 4 meter swath. So sort of 7-8 meters minimum, but often we're up to like 20, so that we get the full swath width of about 12 to 13 meters. Grass is like really light. As you can see, it just doesn't go anywhere. So the swath's quite narrow. We often half overlap grass. So if we've sprayed out a paddock and we are the only ones that are going to seed it, then we'll often half overlap. So do the whole job basically twice. And for that, we use quite a tight swath, like 4 or 5 meters. So we're doing it all twice. If we're over sowing, again, 8 to 10 meters. Urea and stuff like that, we fly at least 15 meters off the ground and with a 12 meter swath. Slug bait, it actually gets even a little bit further, 14 meters, and again 15 meters off the ground at least, and full speed, 14 meters a second. You can really get through a lot of slug bait. Small seeds like Swedes and kale, you want to be, or in clover, plantain, chicory, you want to keep a really good eye on your rates, because the calibrations, you're talking Swedes and round seeds go on at like probably maximum 5 kilos per hectare. So if you get carried away and put in 8 hectares worth, which you easily could, come back, the whole thing's empty in one load because you've stuffed up your calibration. It's a stuff up that's thousands of dollars worth of seed. So if you're doing small seeds, just put in small amounts and constantly monitor it. Keep adding up and making sure you're doing the right amount of hectares for the right amount of area. Just keep checking that the calibration has worked out all right, and you might have to fiddle with the rate a little bit in order to keep everything in balance. You will notice too with small seeds, the return to home could start to annoy you, because it does return to home with 2 or 3 kilos in it. If it is annoying you, you can put like a piece of cardboard in there to stop it doing that. But bear in mind, it's not going to return to home when it's empty. It's just going to keep flying. So be aware of that. It might be something you want to do on the last load just to run it out completely dry. 2 or 3 kilos could be an entire hectare. So just something to be aware of. Auger selection, for all the small seeds I talked about, we use the small augers. The tiny, the smallest we can go, all round seeds. We use the small augers on slug bait. We use the mediums for grass seeds and some fertilizers if it's a light rate, and then we use the large or extra large for most other fertilizers. Calibrate every product. It's not like spraying where you can just calibrate water and it's good to go for 2 or 3 months. You want to calibrate every product because they all flow differently through the augers at different rates.